Well, it seems like every single time that I refresh Twitter, I see another connected NFL insider predicting the Denver Broncos trade away our best player, an all pro player, a Pro Bowl player, a guy that we got at the ninth overall draft pick out of Alabama. He is Patrick Surtain II. While half the world is covered by water, the other half is Patrick Surtain. I'm going to break down all of the rumors about this trade, what I think about it. I can't wait to read in the comments what you think about it. That's a thing I love about this channel. And if you're new to this channel, my name is Ben. I break down all things Denver sports. Really helps me if you like and subscribe. I typically am not filming in this location. I am in my basement, which is all decked out in Broncos gear, but I'm on a family trip right now. And every single chance I have, I'm ducking away into different hotels and like sneaking into little conference rooms to get these recorded while kids are asleep. Bonus points in the comments if you can guess where I am. I feel like really out of place and like this is really bougie. So guess where it is. It's very interesting. Not staying here, but here's where I am. So the rumor of the day is Patrick Surtain is wanted by many. And so we have multiple plugged in sources who are saying, hey, we think he would fit in great and we think this might actually happen. So let's dive in to what those are. And so all of this stems back from essentially the NFL trade deadline. We remembered when, here's the article. We remember at the NFL trade deadline, we were struggling, yet literally our coach Sean Payton held pat. He held Patrick Surtain even though we had tons of teams. I heard Adam Schefter come on and say multiple teams are throwing offers at the Denver Broncos. Two of those who threw substantial offers and now who are reemerging into the conversation as people who would like our shutdown, amazing corner, Patrick Surtain, are the 49ers and the Eagles. We'll talk to you about the reporters who think that they would be interested in Pat Surtain and what the packages they would predict would be. To me, Patrick Surtain is more than just the best player on the Denver Broncos. He's the best player in the AFC at his position. And if you watched the Pro Bowl coverage, you saw all of the corners, all of multiple safeties say that they thought the best corner in the league was Pat Surtain. So he is your best corner's favorite corner. Like you always hear your favorite rapper's favorite rapper. He is your favorite corner's favorite corner. Like that's how good he is. And so as I'm going through these different trade predictions and trade offers, I want you to remember that he's not just a dude who's been good. Like he is your favorite corner's favorite corner. So let's look here at the first one that scares me the most because this is coming from Kay Adams, very plugged in with Sean Payton. And so in my mind, like she never says in here that she heard from Sean Payton. But if she knew for certain that Surtain was off the table because of her conversations with Sean Payton, I don't think she even brings this up. Like Sean Payton on the media row there at the Super Bowl, he skips all the Denver media. He goes straight to Kay Adams' show. And so they're very close. And I've talked about that certainly before. But the fact that she floats this makes me think he's not off the table, which scares me. So the idea would be the 49ers with Pat Surtain and that defense are terrifying because he literally shuts down that entire half of the field that he is on, which then lets, the 49ers got eaten up by that soft shell that Kelsey just seemed to eat up. So if you have Surtain shutting down half of your field, then you just shade Kelsey. You don't have to have that high shell. And I think that game with the Chiefs doesn't go into overtime. I think they beat the Chiefs in regulation. And I think they know that too, that's a position that if they can find an upgrade to and they're in win now mode, why do they need a first round draft pick? Like trade someone now, get help. And so the rumor would be that the 49ers would send us this year's first round draft pick, which they were runners up in the Super Bowl. So it's not really even a first in my estimation. It's the 31st pick in the draft. We remember when the Broncos were finishing runners up in the Super Bowl, and it always seemed like we got dudes at the 31st, like late there that, didn't really show out. They weren't the players that we wanted. I think we got Derek Wolfe late once, and that was good. But typically, that's a second round draft pick or a dude who falls because of injury or drugs or something like that. So I don't love that that's the highest pick, is essentially a second. And then we would get this year's second and this year's third. We know George Payton loves draft picks probably more than he loves his own family. He's said multiple times how he wants to accumulate draft stock. This would do that. A first, a second, and a third for Patrick Surtain. But a guy if we were to add up the points of this, we got Pat Surtain at the 9th overall. So to then trade him for the 31st overall, the 63rd overall, and the 94th overall, I don't think that adds up. I'm not crazy whatsoever about this deal. I only like this deal if we are then packaging all those picks and that it would be enough to move up for a quarterback that Sean Payton might be in love with. The next pick is one that I think I would be a little more okay with. And this is a pick that would be sending Patrick Surtain to the Eagles. And in return, the Denver Broncos would get back a former, I think he was a late second, or he was a late third round pick. He was like in the hundreds. But he's made a Pro Bowl. And we're going to look here at kind of how he has played and what we think of how that would fit. But he has played really well. He made the Pro Bowl because I think one of the Bosa brothers fell out because of injury, but still, he made a Pro Bowl, and he would be an immediate starter on our defensive line, and that's Sweat. So we would get Sweat, we would get this year's first, which is only 10 picks behind where we're currently picking, and this year's fifth, which again is a mid-round pick. So I think if you were to redraft right now, Sweat would probably go as a first-round draft pick. Like a Pro Bowl defensive end is going to be picked in a first round. So it's basically 2 first rounds, and the first round directly from the Eagles is high enough to make me feel like that's actually a first-round pick. So if for whatever reason the Denver Broncos were going to try to trade up or try to trade back, having the 12th overall pick and the 22nd overall pick, those are really good either way of like, hey, let's trade back and get even more assets. Well, then we know we have the 22nd as that hard stop. And so I think there are some really interesting creative things that George Paton could do with those. Now, again, I don't want to trade Pat Surtain just to trade him. Like if there is a long-term vision and Sean Payton has done all of his scouting and in his mind he knows, hey, the Broncos will be in the Super Bowl in 3 years with fill in the blank. Maybe it is Caleb Williams. Maybe it's Drake May. Maybe it's Jaden. I want him in his mind to know, here's the quarterback I can't live without. And then, all right, I'm going to go up and get him. What I don't want to have happen is I don't want it just to be like, hey, whoever's left at 3, I'll make it work. Like if that's the case, then just roll with Russ next year. If Sean Payton is head over heels in love with one of these quarterbacks and knows without a shadow of a doubt that they're the ones who can get the Broncos to the promised land, then I think it is okay, even though it would hurt me, even though I'd have to return my jersey. I think that trading Pat Surtain for the ammunition to do that is okay if and only if the Denver Broncos have zero doubts in the quarterback that we're trading up for. But really what I've loved the most about this channel and doing it since late October is reading all your feedback. And like I said, I am here bringing it down so you don't miss a single snap of off-season action, and I'll do my best to sneak away, and you'll see me recording in crazy places. But here we are. Thank you so much for being along for the journey in Broncos country. Let's giddy up.